Hi everybody, John Pederesi here at GiovanniPetard.com and shopgiovannipetard.com, and the third segment in how to make a simple bezel cup. And as I showed you in the first segment of what we're going to be doing, we've chosen this Peruvian opal, and not like an Australian opal that has all that sparkle in it. This is more of a blue pink. There's a faint blue in there that kind of makes it pop out, and that shiny pink. It's really a beautiful stone. Acquired that in the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. And the bezel cup that I showed you before, but it's nice and clean now. And that stone will go in there, and we can make a pendant, earrings, a ring, or a bracelet out of it. So let's start today with just working on what the bezel part of the bezel cup is. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about bezels. Various types of bezels that you could buy or make. I buy mine by the foot, and my supplier is very reputable supplier in Santa Fe, New Mexico, called Rio Grande Jewelry Supply. Wonderful workable website, quick delivery, the best merchandise you could get on the market, and it comes just the way what you ordered. So let's talk about the bezels that I buy there. It's just a simple, smooth bezel, no embellishment on it. I buy it by the foot like that. It's probably about 3 feet there. And that one is 1/8 of an inch high by a width of 26 gauge. And that's the one we're going to be working with the Peruvian opal. I also buy in the same width. Really hard to see because it's a fine serration on the top portion, just like a saw. And when pushed around the stone, it leaves a really beautiful embellishment. That's serrated. And then there's also, this is a little bigger. This one is 0.016 in height. And that's a serrated bezel. I'm sorry, the last one was serrated bezel. This is a scalloped bezel. And this also leaves a very beautiful surrounding of the stone and makes a nice embellishment. Another one that I use is gallery wire. It's really beautiful. Nice for setting faceted stones or uneven stones, called gallery wire. And once that's pressed around the stone, it's very elegant. And here's another one, it's a little smaller. And beautiful stuff that when that is formed into the stone and soldered to the plate, that will make your bezel cup. So right now we're just going to talk about making the bezel wire itself. So I'm going to reposition the camera over here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, you can see my can you timber? Okay, if I found out how to pause this thing before I did anything, I would be alright. But I haven't found out how to do that yet, so we're still in the learning process. Okay, there we go. All right, here's our Peruvian opal. And here's our bezel wire. And what we're going to do is we're going to form that wire around the stone to make the shape of the stone. And see how that tightly formed right around the stone. Just needs a little bit of trimming. Let me take a closer look at that. And just a very small piece needs to come off. Let me get my scissors. and that's going to fit just fine around there. So get that close together, flatten it out so it meets evenly. You see that meeting evenly? And then when you push it around, it's called springing the wire, and it puts tension on it. So I've just put some tension on the wire and have a perfect seam there. Do you see that? Perfect seam that's ready to be soldered. So let's go once again to a new position. Okay, that's my soldering board. I hope this is coming out good. And there's one that I've already cut just to make this a little easier. I've already flexed the inside and the outside of the seam. So with flux, handy flux, you always need flux when you're soldering to help the solder to flow. And I'm gonna position, if I can find my tweezers. Okay, somebody took my tweezers, there it is. All right, I cut a very, very tiny piece, if you can see the very, very tiny, tiny, tiny piece, maybe a 1/16 of an inch long. That's actually kind of big, but okay, we're gonna file that down, and I'm going to put the solder right on the seam. The reason I do this technique, I love this technique. I learned it from a guy in Australia called Solheim Harris, who I'll tell you about later. And solder follows the heat, so if the heat's coming from the torch from the top, it's going to come from the bottom and go right up the seam. So let's solder that. Nice little flame, not too high. And keep moving, always moving. If you see it getting real shiny, pull away, because that means it's getting ready to melt. Did you see that? The solder just pulled right up the steam. And there it is. Now, don't touch it because that'll put a brand on you. Cool it. I just quenched it in water. And gonna put the stone around. Once you put the stone in there, that's gonna give the perfect form of the bezel. And I know it's hard to see, but right in here, there's about a 32nd, maybe a 64th of an inch that once this bezel cup is made, is going to be pressed down around the stone, and it's going to hold the stone in there, and it's going to also add some beauty to it. So there's your cup. That's not the cup, I'm sorry. It's just the bezel. And where's my... And a plate silver, about 26 gauge. I'm going to solder that onto there and trim it off, and that's going to be a bezel cup. So this is the segment that we were talking about on just making the bezel. Let me put you back up here where you can see me. And so you see me yet? Okay, yeah, we go. And wow, that took 9 minutes. I hope everybody watches the whole thing. So I know I got to stop it real quick because Facebook only takes 10 minutes. So that is making the bezel wire, and then next we'll go on to making attaching the bezel wire to the plate. And after we've done that, trimming it, and we'll make probably this size looks like a ring to me. So thank you for watching GiovanniPatara.com. And once again, this is John Pederesi, and I thank you very, very much for watching my video. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye.